Our developing story here. Adam Schefter
would like to be traded. The Philadelphia Eagles are open to trading him. The New England Patriots have wanted him all along.
Dan Orlowski is back here with us on First Take. I will remind everyone the Patriots were in the Super Bowl last year against the Seattle Seahawks and now potentially could be adding A.J. Brown. How scary would this team be with him?
I think it gives them a top 3 wide receiver core in the conference. And given what we saw to Drake May last year, which was an MVP caliber season, we only expect him to continue to take another step forward. I think this offensive line will be an improved offensive line, and they're a very well-coached football team. So am I ready to sit here and say that I expect him to get back to the Super Bowl? No. We know the schedule played its part. We know that New England was not where they should have been. They kind of outplayed or overshot their skis, essentially. And so it's going to be a very good football team, but I think it'll be a much more complete team that now AJ, if the trade happens, and I believe it will, they signed Romeo Doubs from Green Bay. Kayshon Boutte took a huge step forward. They still have Kyle Williams and Pop Douglas. This is a really good wide receiver core. I'd probably put a top 3 in the conference. So it's a very, very good football team. Fully expect them to be a playoff team.
I want to remind everyone, too, Stephon Diggs, who led the team in receiving yards, is no longer on the Patriots. Go ahead, Stephen A.
Yeah, but Kayshon Boutte is there along with Mac Hollins, so we like that part. And then you also have to look at it from the standpoint that A.J. Brown added to that squad, to that unit, would definitely be a significant upgrade. Not but love for Stephon Diggs, but he's not A.J. Brown, so we got to get that out the way. I love the fact that Dan pointed out how you expect them to be a playoff team, but you're not saying they would get to the Super Bowl. But what he left out was the reason we feel that way is because we don't know if they would have made the Super Bowl if Bo Nix hadn't gone down at the end of the divisional playoff game and was available to them for the AFC Championship game instead of them having to rely on Jarrett Stidham, okay, whose wife looked like, that white mink coat, I can't get over that. She was fly as hell in that white mink coat. She looked like the wife of a starting quarterback right there. And obviously, Jarrett Stidham was starting in the AFC Championship game. So I got to give credit. It was just beautiful. She flossed the way you saw the AFC Championship game. You'd have never knew he was a backup. You'd have never knew it. So I give credit where credit is due. Major, major props to her. You understand? But the bottom line is this. We didn't expect him to do much, and he didn't, meaning Jarrett Stidham. If Bo Nix had been up in there, chances are Denver would have won that game. And so we're looking at it from that standpoint, recognizing what the New England Patriots are not, as opposed to what they are. A.J. Brown would definitely be an upgrade. Obviously, Drake May can ball. You got some sidekicks in the offensive or the wide receiver unit. That would definitely help, like I pointed out. In the end, New England definitely would be a playoff team. We'd see where they'd go from there. If you can get A.J. Brown, you obviously go ahead and do it, which they seem hell-bent on doing, and this seems inevitable that it's going to happen. So it is what it is. The Pats would be scary because they'd get to the playoffs. They could score on you. They're rough defensively, so they're not going to bow down to anybody. I think all of those things will work well for them, but it'll be interesting to see what happens between them and the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. I think we need to keep our minds on that before thinking about what the New England Patriots are going to do throughout the AFC come playoff time. Let's see what they're going to do in the AFC East because Buffalo is not going away.
Yeah, AFC is going to be more wide open this year than it was last year. That's one of the stories that happened last year was how wide open the AFC became. We talked about the potential of no Josh, no Lamar, no Joe, no Patrick in the playoffs, 3 out of the 4 missing the playoffs. Baltimore, everything's new. There's still some holes on their team, and they don't have Max Crosby. We'll see how together Cincinnati gets. Buffalo, there's still some new. Joe Brady, while being in the building, now in a new role. The addition of DJ Moore. How does C.J. Stroud respond after a lackluster performance in the AFC playoffs for Houston? Does Tennessee take a step forward? What's Kansas City without Patrick if he has to miss some time early on? And there's a roster that has some holes. So I think the AFC is a very wide open conference, indifferent to the NFC that we know kind of the top 3 or 4 heavy teams. AFC is going to be wide open. I would fully expect New England to be very much so in the playoff race.